Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! Welcome to FMLFPL Milan.
This Walsh.
Humongous pod incoming.
Big pod. Probably a 2-hour job.
Theme of the pod is there's too many guys.
Yeah, the budget pod's always a really big one.
It's
Always
just too many guys.
Yeah.
Like in my preparations, I just kept being like, I'm skipping this team. They have bad fixtures and they suck. Like, not talking about them. You know, like it just, you got to optimize.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I guess this one's a little bit shorter, but the 4 or 5 defender options, like that's why this is
keeper and defenders. This is a keeper and defender pod.
Yeah, basically.
Before we start, I made the Mug League for Patreon subscribers. Link to join that league will be in the show notes. I'm also waiting for FPL to. I got change named on the league for the RMT subscribers, so I'll send that soon. Everyone should check out Walsh's Fireside Chat with Late Riser. Came out on Friday, so I think a lot of people missed it. Really good. I'll put a link to it. A lot more firesides coming. Let's get in there.
All right. Where do you want to start?
Keepers and defenders.
All
4
right.
5s.
So,
how do we even do this?
Who's top of the charts?
Here's something interesting. How many 100%, no doubt about it, nailed 4-5 keepers are there? Because I think there's 4.
6? 4?
Well, I'm not. Okay, yeah. Like if you include the promoted sides, there's probably like 6 or 7, but I'm not considering any of them.
Okay.
I think it's like Flecken, Sa, Areola, and maybe Hendo. Would you say Hendo? 100%?
Yeah, it looks like Henderson's 100%. He's playing every minute in preseason. He finished up well last year.
Yeah.
John Stone came back last year and he was still playing. So, yeah, he seems to like
weird.
Henderson.
Like, usually there's like 8 or 9 or 10.
Yeah, well, they priced a lot of them at 5, which is also...
a lot of the guys are 5.
Yeah, I mean, half the keepers are 5 or more, basically, in the league, or there's 8 or something. And then I think you're also discounting Bart. He's just injured, right?
Well, he's injured, so...
Yeah, but he's nailed. I mean, he's just not fit.
I can't count someone injured nailed when it's a new manager and still starts, every game until he's not injured. Like, to me, that's like, you're not in the conversation. You're not in the game yet.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to say
have you seen Steel? Have you seen?
I've seen too much of Steel. But it's just so weird. It's like, why is Flecken 4-5 and like, Leno and other randos are 5? Like, it just feels like there's this weird gap of like, these 4 guys for some reason are nailed in 4-5, and there's other nailed guys on similar level teams who are 5.
Yeah.
But there's just fewer than usual 4-5s. It's kind of a weird one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, I guess. I mean, I have had Henderson and Fleckening in as my 2 4-5s for a while. I haven't
right, because you're
them.
bench boosting.
Yeah, I have, and they rotate well. I haven't touched them for a while. They seem good.
Yeah. Okay, so you're planning on actually rotating. Yeah, I guess if you have 2, you kind of like have to.
Yeah, I mean, why not? For the first, couple months or month or whatever, at least first 6 or something, they rotate pretty well.
7, it's like home Palace, home West Ham, home Southampton, home Leicester, home Man United, home West Ham, home Wolves. Yeah. That's pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
7 out of 7 home games, that's really good.
Yeah, that's a good runway. And I mean, they play each other game week 1, which isn't ideal. Probably no clean there, but it's hard to see a clean from any of the 4-5 keepers in game week 1, really, to me anyway.
True. Yeah. I think that's right.
But why don't we I think we should just go through the teams, honestly. Yeah. Because the goalkeepers and the defenders are it's like they're too overlapping.
Yeah.
Let's just go through the teams from alphabetical. Start with Villa.
Yeah.
So Villa, no 4-5 goalkeeper, but plenty of 4-5 defender options. They have Konsa 4-5, Pau 4-5, and I mean, that's about it.
Everyone, Moreno, Cash, Carlos, Dean, Mings, like there's so many guys that probably are irrelevant, but they're all 4-5. Everyone's 4-5 except Maatsen, basically.
Yeah.
Is what they did.
Yeah, and it looks like it's really, do you want to stretch to Maatsen for 0.5? Do you think it's worth it? The defense, how do you feel about Villa just going into the year here?
Yeah, he finally started, which is really nice because it was getting to the point of we're just so close. I can't remember a season when we're this close to game week 1, and I feel like half the players in the fucking game aren't even back yet from their vacations, and there's no press conferences and no information anywhere. And so it's okay, finally Maatsen started. I think most teams have 1 or 2 friendlies left, and they'll probably all go first choice because it's so close to the season. So I assume Maatsen will start that game too. I think it's probably worth it. We got some people writing in is Pau a donger? Is Pau worth it? I had Pau famously for some dongs last year. I got 2 double-digit hauls off him, but overall, no, I think Maatsen is really the attacker of the entire back line. But how I feel about Villa going into the season is kind of very good, which at the end of last season, I wouldn't have guessed that. But right now and with their fixtures, I'm I'm pretty high on them, probably higher than most people.
Yeah. Yeah. We're starting here and we'll come across some teams that are definitively worse, but it just feels like in the 4-5 defender bracket, Konsa's as good as it gets because he's nailed. He'll get a couple goals, whatever, but you're looking at 4-5 defenders. So having a Villa option there just feels really nice, I think. And, they have the bad game week 2 against Arsenal, which is unfortunate. And also, they do have a really good run for the first 8. Good. They're just good, right?
If it was away Arsenal, I'd be looking at it this is a 2% clean. Home Arsenal? I don't know. Arsenal play a lot more defensively away. Villa are a lot better at home. I'm it's fine. Totally fine.
You don't want to start him, but if you had to, you could.
Yeah, if you had to, you could. Yeah. If you have a 5-0 guy, you probably start him. Some people are probably going ME, whatever. You just start him, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Why Konsa over Pau? Just curious.
I feel like he has more goal threat, honestly.
Really?
I don't know why. It's not really based on much, but I just feel like he does. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, he hasn't done it historically, but whenever I watch them, I just feel like
he did when I feel 2-3 seasons ago, he was kind of he scored 2 goals in 21-22, 2 goals in 2021. I feel like he used to be a corner threat more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just a Pau guy. I just love watching him play. This is purely aesthetic bias of I just love a classy left footer who's an elite passer. So he's my guy. But good team, good 4-5, really good fixtures. When you mentioned the home Arsenal, if you just look at the first 6, they're all cleanable, very cleanable. Their 3 aways are West Ham, Leicester, Ipswich, very cleanable, and their 2 homes are bankers: home Everton, home Wolves.
Yeah, and they have they have Champions League, early this year. It's earlier than it ever has been because they need to make more money, so there's more games than ever. But they're also going in this year without having to play shitters. Cash isn't going to be playing. Dean's, Alex Moreno. They're going to be playing with 3 center backs, and defensively, Kamara's probably not going to be back for a little while, but they reinforced. Yeah, good.
Onana, that is one interesting. We don't really know how it's going to shake out, but they're basically swapping in Onana for Doug Luiz, and he's obviously so much bigger and more physical and better defensively, but also worse in possession, worse passer. How is that trickle down going to affect their overall defense? I expect it'll make their defense better. But also, maybe they have a harder time controlling the ball or moving the ball out of their own defensive third or something like that Doug is so good at. So we'll see, but I'm positive on it. Yeah.
Next up is Bournemouth. So goalkeeper, we don't really know if it's Neto or Trav the lad, I guess, right? Travers took over. Yeah, Travers took over at the very tail end of last year because Neto was just putting in howlers and maybe he wasn't fit or something. It's just weird because Neto's the captain, but So they have those 2 4-5s Yeah, he's getting up there. And then, everyone's Zabarni's 4-5. Kirkez, who we don't know if he's going to play, 4-5. They're all 4-5. What do you see here with Bournemouth?
Talking about a team that, like, did they reinforce? Like, what is the world where they're better defensively?
They still don't have Tyler Adams. We know
they
that.
They just don't have anyone. They bought, apparently the kid from Juve is really promising and, like, cool. I like that. But, like, their fixtures are bad and they didn't reinforce midfield at all. And I'm just like, pass. Like, obviously not a keeper because we don't know which one is the pick. And then, like, the defenders aren't really attacking, right? Like, the fullbacks, you kind of, like, want to think they're attacking because they're, like, young and fast. And there was, like, a couple games at the end of the season where Kirkez was, like, just left wing, but that's when everyone was hurt. I think it's just a pass.
Yeah, I'm with you. The fixtures don't do them any favors. I mean, they just have a really bad opening run, full stop. And the lack of reinforcements. Really lack of reinforcements, discouraging. Zabarni is definitely, though, a name to just remember. Because there can be a time when they have a good fixture run, and at 4-5, you just put them in, and if they're playing well. But it's a little disheartening, especially hearing these links with Solanke maybe going to Spuds or going somewhere. I mean, if he leaves, all of a sudden this squad is just relegation.
This is like a different podcast, but, like, no one is making any fucking moves. Like, this is the weirdest window ever.
Yeah. Yeah, the lack of movement is startling.
It's insane. Like, I know some teams are, like, PSR fucked, but also 15 teams aren't, and they're also not making moves, except like Villa and Man United. That's it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of guys, but defense, pretty.
I mean, all they've done, like, technically is, like, make Sinistera permanent, make Unal permanent. They get this young, promising defender from Juve, cool.
Yeah.
Buy a backup keeper, a free transfer on a Sheffield United striker. It's like, all right, I guess we're just running it back.
Run it
guys.
back. Yeah, run it back. Yeah.
Sure.
All right, Brentham.
Yeah, so Flecken is just a standout pick, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I think so.
He's not the best keeper in the world. But, he finished 119 points, which is, like, fine, last season. It's not good, but it's fine. And that's with, like, all of their defenders were injured. Their fixtures are pretty good. They're, like, good enough, I would say. Not great, but good enough. I mean, what else is there to say? I just expect, like, a positive regression from a team that was missing all of their guys.
Yeah, and it's also very uncommon in the game this year to have your backup be 4-0.
Yes. Also,
so if you're going solo 4-5 for the 8-5 combo, that's good. And they have at Liverpool, at City, at Spurs, 3 of the first 5. Not ideal. They have home Southampton, home West Ham, home Wolves for 7. You like that a lot more for the goalkeeper, though, than if you had a defender. I mean, you'd be rotating him.
You have to rotate.
Maybe you'll get some saves, and you're not. You don't look at the fixtures as much for the keeper, and Flecken just feels like a really safe, solid pick. I'm with you there. I mean, like you're mentioning, the injuries were extensive last year, and they look like they're getting a little bit fitter this year. I mean, Henry still
Henry and Hickey are still out, I think, right?
Is Hickey out still? Yeah, so
I think
they
so.
may be.
So they still have no fullbacks, but, like, even just how do you say his name again? Ajer. 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 I just, like, had a complete brain fart.
Stroke.
Yeah, I live on air. I was, like, reading it. My eyes were just like, what is that? Even just having him back is just, like, such an upgrade. Like, they were just, like, wedging in. Rorslev was just starting every single game. It's just like, what's going on? Zenka and shit. 33-year-old Zenka. It's like, this isn't good. But I mean, the keeper, the weird thing about those, we always say this, but, like, the weird thing about those, tough aways is, like, on average, you'd rather have the good fixtures because usually in the tough away, you get 1 point or less. But if there's a miracle clean, that 5% chance of a clean in any of those, the keeper probably had, like, 9 saves and or saved a pen and or getting max bones. So there's a sneaky shout for a double-digit haul.
Yeah. could come in. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Fluckin's good, and then everyone on the defense is 4-5. Everyone on the back line. Like last year, me was 5. It was a little bit different, but
they just said, "Fuck it, you deal with it."
Yeah, and I think that's a very appropriate pricing based on how bad they were last year. Injuries, not with irregardless. Pinnock, like me, still there. Yeah, good 4-5. I mean, this is another good rotating 4-5 team. So I think it's a little bit worse than you could possibly hope for with the first 4 or 5, really, where there's only really one good clean sheet fixture is home Southampton.
I mean, I think me is still hurt. He's played 0 minutes. So maybe I'm like talking too soon about they're getting fit, because Rico, Henry, Hickey, and me are all still hurt.
Me still. Okay, so they're going to have Ayer, Collins looks like he might have been lighting money on fire, which they're very good at.
Yeah,
but Pinnock, Collins, and Ayer back 3, I guess, or we'll see what they do. Yeah. So I mean, they're still struggling with some injuries, I guess, still, and they, as every other team in the world, basically haven't reinforced at all. But
Pinnock
I still just feel like Frank
sneaky,
and whatever,
good attacker too. I mean, he gets his head on stuff. He does stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But
it's hard. It's hard to put them in because they're not really a rotating. If you're only starting them for game week 3 for the first 5 games, and that's really what you want. Like looking at those fixtures, you don't want to start a defender in any other game.
You could start game week 1. It's not good.
Yeah, you could. It's bad. You could, but
home Palace. It's still cleanable.
It's hard to have a worse opening 5, though. So, I mean, I haven't...
Yeah, the opening 5 is as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
Once you start working in 6, 7, it's like the fixtures they're not
turns,
that bad. But if I'm like micro analyzing this a little bit more, those are really, really, really bad. And considering, most people wildcard between 4 and 8, like maybe it's just a pass, because... what are we doing?
I mean, I haven't seen a team with a Brentford defender in it.
But a lot of teams still flecking, but maybe we shouldn't. Like maybe just looking at these short-term fixtures, it's like 3 of the first 5, I'm expecting 1 point or less. Like that's as bad as you could possibly get. So why are we getting this player?
Yeah, and I mean, for my specific, as he rotates with, I bet play him in game week 1 bench boost, play him Southampton, and I don't care about the other 3 at Liverpool, at City, at Spurs. I'm not playing. But as an 8-5, the issue is there's not another
4-5-4-0.
There isn't another 8-5 combo. That's better. You're looking at promoted sides basically.
There's none. There's none.
Yeah. So that's that.
Well, except for there's one Saw, right? Wolves.
Oh, and Bentley. Yeah, but they have worse fixtures. I mean,
sure. Yeah,
we could just jump down to them.
Just jump to them because I just brought them up.
They have at Arsenal, home Chelsea, at NFO, home Newcastle, at Villa. That's no cleans. They don't have one. They don't have one good fixture in the first 5.
Here's the good news:
home
Southampton.
Can skip
Wolves. Let's just skip Wolves.
Yeah, we can skip. Home Liverpool, home City. I mean, their first 8. It's insane how bad their run is, and it's a hard skip. I mean, Nori, they will be good eventually, but the opening run, they have the worst opening run of any team in the league.
Hard pass.
Yeah, so they're
no reason to go there.
Yeah, they're in bad shape. Then they're not going to keep any clean. So
also, let's not forget they were a bad defense. I feel like I've seen like a lot of people being like, "Oh, this guy," and I'm just like, they were bad, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. The vibes were just so good with O'Neill, but it's like,
Mm-hmm.
Brighton next.
Yeah, Brighton. So Bart's hurt, which is unfortunate because I think he's probably going to be one that people are wild carding into maybe after a month or 2 kind of deal when he's back. And then Purvis is 5, but everyone's 4-5. There's Barco at 4-0, which we have to talk about him, but. We've heard, new manager, young child with the sleeves. How are you feeling about Brighton?
Well, I think Barco is the place to begin. I mean, you and LR talked about him. Hard to overstate how good of a pick he seems like it seems like being. I mean, fixtures aren't ideal, but with like 2 aways and home Man United is not a nailed clean, but like corners, attacking, 4-0, and like let's be honest, he's nailed as of now. And the latest on Purvis is like, we'll see, but he's playing 0 minutes. He's not doing anything. We have no idea. We how many times have we seen a guy who's like, he might be back game week 4 and then he doesn't play till like game week 18. Like, so right now is like the peak of Barco's value, I feel like, and he's just a great pick.
Yeah, he did miss the last friendly with a knock. So we'll have to see. Hopefully he plays the next one. I think they have one more.
Yeah, they do. I think everyone has at least one more.
Yeah, that's of course. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But I mean, it wouldn't make any sense to risk him with any minor thing because they played fucking Milner.
Yeah, they need him to play every game.
Yeah, so definitely like Barco. Definitely think he's the best 4-0 as long as he plays the next friendly and he's fit compared to Harwood Bellis. We'll come on to that later on, but Barco looks good. I really like Dunk too. I mean, he's 4-5, and he's not someone you'll ever have to transfer out. And we know that Hertzler puts a lot more emphasis on set pieces, which, with Dunk and everything he has about him sounds great. I mean, is this another year where he scores 5? Could be. 4-5, never 4-5. I've always been a big Dunk person. Love him. I think that's also just a great
pick. Good player. Yeah, he's just a very good player. They're another team where the fixtures are weird and you kind of have to like look closer. It's like if you go past game week 5, you're like, oh my God, stay away. Starting at game week 6, they're at Chelsea, home Spurs, at Newcastle, home Wolves, at Liverpool, home City. But those first 5, pretty nice. I mean, at Everton, home Man United, at Arsenal stuff, home Ipswich, home NFL.
Yeah, I mean, you just even look at their first 10, right? I mean, you'll probably start them for about 5 of them, and that's what you will probably do with all of these teams. It's a matter of, how big is the fixture run you're looking at. But if you break it down, about half their games are the ones you're going to want to start them for. It's like the home against this chunk and then the aways with a smaller chunk. And
right, which is actually an interesting way to look at things. Is like how many in the first chunk are you going to actually start the player? Because I think with exception of Villa and maybe like NFO, whose fixtures are just so beyond good, it's insane. That's normal, right? Like starting them in half-ish, right? Like Brighton, if you look at the first while. But yeah, that's a good way to look at it, I think.
Yeah, and it just comes down to if you're rotating or how you'll have to stress. And that's the hard thing when you do a rotation, right, is it depends on the fitness of the players you have, and that can go upside down really quick. And then all of a sudden you have 2 picks for one spot that don't blend well, and you're getting no points. So it's a tough one.
You'd rather front load the good fixtures because we don't know when we're going to wild card than back load where you're just like, I started game week 1 with this player for no reason. I started them one time.
Yeah. Totally, like Dan Burn or something. But
exactly. Yeah,
Chelsea. So they got Jorgensen.
Oh wait, I did want to mention one other thing. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not watching Brighton preseason games, but in all their match reports, apparently they're just like aiming every corner at Van Heck. Like every moment in every game is just like outswinger to Van Heck, who wins it to the back post, like gets a shot on target just over the bar. Blah blah blah. It's like. Keep an eye on that. Like him.
Yeah. Well, they haven't had Dunk. Had Dunk yet.
Yeah.
One thing to note.
Yeah. Because he was away, right? But
that is good to note. Yeah, he's he took a nice step forward last year.
He's young. He's good. Yeah,
he's good, and that partnership's good. And if Igor comes in, I mean, they're gonna
second season Igor.
I mean, they're gonna have people to aim for, which is why. All of them, I mean, Barco taking them is just that's
insane. Yeah, insane.
I mean, and we always know, and we'll come on to this with Ipswich, but when you have defenders that are, even if they're just taking half the corners, that's huge. It's just huge. It's huge. They're free, unless if you're Bruno taking them, who never gets assists because he's fucking terrible. But free assists. So Brighton, lot to like about Brighton. Very excited about Brighton this year. We'll come on to them again when we come to the attacking section of the pod. But going back to Chelsea, so they got Jorgensen in, who you would imagine is going to displace Bob Monster.
Has to, right? Everything I read about him was like he's a very, very good shot stopper, good ball player. It's just like he's the guy. He's got to be.
Yeah, there was I'm sure you didn't watch, but there was this like La Liga Netflix
I didn't watch.
miniseries. It was like an 8-episode documentary of just following various teams and storylines, and Jorgensen was quite prominently featured in it. He's got this fucking hot Dutch girlfriend. He's chill vibes. He's a good kid. Seemed like a good kid. So that'll be interesting to see how that falls. And then the 4-5. I mean, the center backs, they have Colwill, W. Fofana, Tosin's 4-5. I mean, they have.
If you have 6 center backs, it's another way of saying you have 0 center backs. I mean, that's really the bottom line. Like, I look at their team and I'm like, they have Cucurella and Gusto. I'm pretty sure will start the majority of the first, quarter, fifth of the season. And then I have absolutely no idea how the center back minutes are going to be distributed, and they have a million of them.
Yeah, I feel like Colwill is very, very clearly one of their 2 best. Like, no matter what. Yeah. They've just been a sieve in preseason, though. And Maresca, like, playing this new system, and everyone's a stranger. No one's ever played a game together before because they're always hurt, and it's a mess. So, I mean, Chelsea's a really, really strong stay away from me from the defense standpoint.
The only reason to, like, potentially go there is their fixtures are genuinely good for cleans other than Game Week 1 home City.
Yeah.
And Wolves, for the Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Forest, like, there's cleanable games in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they do look like a mess, and there's not really a pick. I mean, I forgot that Reece is suspended for the first 4 games. And that's one of my favorite little nuggets of earlier today being like,
Captain Reece.
Captain, leader, legend.
Unavailable. Love it.
Unavailable. Fit for one time in his life and unavailable.
One time only. Yeah. So that's that.
Awesome.
Anything else on Chelsea defense?
No, I got nothing.
Yeah,
got nothing.
Palace
have guys.
Yeah, Palace have guys. I mean, Anderson is probably the best 4-5 in the game.
Yeah.
I think he's at least on the top 3 very, very short list.
Yeah, Villa guy.
Sandra,
somewhere in there. He's on the list. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's on the list. I mean, he's in 23% of teams, which is fucking crazy. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Didn't really see that coming. I gotta admit. Yeah. Who else is going to start, do you think? I mean, I guess we still have no idea what's going on with Gahey. Like, it seems like he's obviously being sold, but no one's spending any money. No one's making any moves. So it's not happened yet. But like, you expect, and I'm asking you specifically, but like, do you expect it to be like Anderson, Richards, and Riyadh is going to be the back 3, assuming you sell Gahey?
Yeah, I mean, when we don't have like Doucouré, Lerma, everyone in midfield available to play maybe with, but he likes playing 3 center backs, and then one of them just kind of steps up, right? Yeah. And playing with the wing backs. And so, I do expect it's going to be those 3 with Mitchell and Munoz, either side to begin with, with probably Wharton, Lerma, and then, the attackers, probably not, what's his name? Sarr probably not going to start Game Week 1, but then it'll be Kamada, Eze, and Mateta. Like that's what I expect. Right. And if Gahey's not, I don't know because we bought Riyadh for like 20 some. Like he wasn't cheap.
He's supposed to be amazing. I've read very, very good things about him. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I don't think we bought him to just add to the stable. I saw that as, this is part of the Gahey money we're reinvesting
this is the Gahey replacement.
Yeah.
And he's left-sided. So, you can imagine him on the left, Anderson in the middle, Richards on the right. Makes total sense.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is the best time to sell Gahey off the Euros, 2 years left on his contract. And also, we sold Elise. So, I don't think we need to sell Gahey. And if no one's going to pay, then we'd probably just keep him. And maybe we sell next year for 15 less million or something when he has 1 year left on his contract.
It's also
and we
just
can just kind of ease everything.
And there's no, obvious hole in the team. You know what I mean? Like, you're not one of those teams that's like, oh my God, like you need a striker so badly, you need the money from Gay. It's just like, if you don't sell him, like your team's just better. Like it's just better and deeper.
Yeah,
there's so many midfielders, so many forwards. Like,
well, I don't think we have so many forwards. I mean, I think that is the whole. Like, I would love to buy. Well, we have Raksak still around. I don't know what França is, but he was also not cheap. I would love to buy a 19-year-old striker for 19 mil from Basel,
but it's not a
or something.
need. Like
No, it's not a
Edouard
need.
is still a fine backup, right?
Absolutely.
Like if he just plays 1,000 minutes, he'll get you whatever goals. He's totally fine. Like he'll probably start game week 1. You know?
Yeah. But and either we're getting into Palace pod talk here, but ultimately 4 or 5
good
Palace
team.
defender, good team, good
fixtures.
Good picks. Yeah, pretty good fixtures for cleans. And Henderson too, right? I mean, 4 or 5. I think he's really good. I mean, I just think he's a great goalkeeping option this year.
Don't like him because he's been so bad in the past.
Yeah,
like he had that one scenic year, and everyone was like jizzing over how good he is, and then he's been so bad since then. And so I'm like, I've been burned by him in FPL before. It's like hard to go back, but like he played
was
better when Glasner got there, and like
he was good. The last 7-8 games when we were good, he was good. Like he didn't really throw any balls in. He was good.
So I think I just gotta like delete that other part of my memory of him and just be like, he's good. Trusting Glasner, trust the process. Like good pick. But I mean, honestly, like Palace have like 6 good picks.
A lot of good picks.
They just have a good run, good team, price to buy, all over the place.
Yeah. With you. Everton. So it's really just Mikolenko. They even put in the new they even put in the new giant guy at 5, O'Brien, ex-Palace legend. Mikolenko, are you there? Where are you at with him?
I mean, he's a great pick. There's no doubt in my mind that he's a great pick. And when we were talking about best 4 or 5 in the game, I mean, I should have mentioned him too. I mean, there's really no team. I know NFO had the underlines, but like, come on, we're all kind of like, are they good? Like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
We all know that a Dyche team is going to keep cleans, and he is, and they just have no fucking fullbacks basically except him. I mean, they have Patterson, Coleman, and Ashley fighting for minutes at right back, if any of them stay fit, that is. And Grantham Tarko in the middle, and Mikolenko is just going to play. And he's finally returned from injury. He started the last game, so like he's good to go. What do you think of their fixtures?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a classic bad player, great pick kind of guy.
He's like a Shaw of years prior.
Yeah, when he was a little fatter and worse. It's mixed. You know, I mean, it's very mixed. Home Brighton, tough one to call. Home Bournemouth, pretty good, I think. Bournemouth away they struggle a little bit. At Leicester, fine. You know, home Palace, home Newcastle.
It's kind of bad, honestly.
Yeah, it's like there aren't great.
There's no banker.
No, they don't have a home banker until I don't even know. Fulham isn't even a home banker.
Fulham is kind of banker-ish because they're so much worse away. But like, it's one of those weird things where they don't have a home banker for a long time, and they don't really have a very bad game where you can't start the player.
Yeah.
Like at Spurs, sure. Like at Villa, sure. You don't want to start him there, but then nothing until home Liverpool in game week 15.
Which makes Fuckford more enticing because they're going to clean some of these games. You don't know which one, and if you're rotating, you're likely to miss cleans and get no cleans. So it's tough. Their run is tricky from a defense standpoint, but I think you can also make a very good case that you can start Mikolenko every week. You know, for like 3 months.
Absolutely.
You know, maybe at Spurs, at Villa are the two that you would be very, and also you could just start them in the homes. You know, I mean, the home away splits last year were very significant, and you know, if you kind of want to see how that plays out, you know, you could just start them in the homes, even though they're, you know, against some top half teams. You know, do that. Yeah,
don't mind that at all.
Yeah,
he doesn't attack often. But some games, he's just like at the top of the box hitting the post.
Hits the post.
You don't know when it's coming. But I
think he sucks. Yeah,
I don't really like him either or rate him. But he's 24, and you know he plays 2,500 minutes a year. Like he's solid.
Usually available. Good pick.
Yeah, so good pick. He's fine, and he's a good pick.
Yeah, good pick. Fulham losing
so also
Polina.
Leno not
an option
in this bracket, and then everyone else is 4 or 5.
Yeah. So losing Polina, what are you seeing here with Fulham?
I just don't. I don't know. Maybe like, you know, both of us have a hard time reading Fulham all the time. We think they're going to be good, they're bad, and when we think they're going to be bad, they're good. And maybe it's just like some Milva thing that like we just don't understand his logic and his world. We just can't understand his language. Because I look at this team, they lose Paulinho for so much money, and then they spend all of the money on Emil Smith-Rowe, and they're trying to buy McSauce. And I'm like, what? In what world are those your two targets? Those are two of the worst targets I could imagine. Like,
did you think this team didn't need McSauce?
And Smith-Rowe, yeah, exactly. Like, you can't even say it with a straight face. That tells you everything you know. And Smith-Rowe is better than Pereira, better than Iwobi, better than Harry Wilson, better than Adama, but like a little bit. And he hasn't played more than 500 minutes in 2 years. And so they lost all their ball winning, all their tackling, all their fouling, everything. And they're just like, okay, yeah, Harrison Reed, your time to shine. So it's a big step back, I think, defensively, even though, I like some of their 4-5s. I like the fullbacks. I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine them not having a big step back, not taking a big step back. But again, like Milv, I don't understand anything he's doing. And the fixtures are really good. Really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I am with you on all of the squad management or movement kind of puzzling. And also, we're not buying a Fulham defender for 38 game weeks. And, you just look at Man United game week 1, that's Friday night. Tough. That's no way there's a clean there. But then it's home Leicester, at Ipswich, home Western, at NFO 2 weeks later. I mean, you can, even if they're a bad defense and they only keep one clean in those 4.
Yeah.
Anthony Robinson attacks so much. I mean, he's like a winger, kind of. I mean, he's never scored a goal in his life.
He's old
he's
school
a pick.
Fullback. And he
he's
is
up
like
and down.
the prototypical
up and
down old school fullback. I'm in a back 4, but I show up in both defensive final third and attacking final third because his engine is insane and his pace is insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he's been great for me in the past. I mean, he is also a great pick.
Yeah, he's not a great pick, but he's a pick, I think.
I think he's borderline great pick if you just
can't be a great pick.
Start him in, maybe 2 of these fixtures in the first chunk.
Yeah, he's a pick. He's a pick.
He's a pick for sure. He's a pick for sure.
Very concerned about the clean sheets perspective.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I just don't understand. I just struggle to understand. But they do.
Tim Ream, so they'll be fine.
Yeah, they got a new guy who's, I think, supposed to replace Ream, Cuenca, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's for 10 mil or something. I mean, Bassey's going to play again. And they got Cess back, bands back together. Cess reunion.
Renaissance. Cess is back. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's awesome.
I still feel like...
Weird team.
Yeah, weird team. Always are. I feel like Robin Anthony's a very solid pick, though, even still.
Yep. Can we do all the promoted teams together?
Sure.
Because I don't like the fixtures for any of them, and I'm just hard passing on all of them.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that Harwood Bellis is a decent 4-0 if you're getting 2 of them.
Definitely.
Same with with Ipswich. They were talking a little in Discord about Leif Davis. He had, I think...
But he's 4-5.
He had 45 attacking returns last year or something.
Is that good?
He led the league in chances created by a lot. He's on set pieces also. I think directs also, as well as indirects.
2 goals,
not pens.
18 assists.
Yeah, not pens, but... Obviously, it's annoying that he's 4. If he was 4, he'd be in every team. But he's accurately priced. He's accurately priced at 4-5, and the Liverpool City game week 1 and 2 fixtures aren't good, but they do have a pretty good run after that. I don't think that anyone should start with him because Ipswich might be, one of the worst. Like we kind of expected the Hatters last year, the Lutonites, to be one of the worst teams and defenses and everything. I mean, Ipswich, the Tractor Boys, could easily be the worst defense in the league this year, in which case it doesn't matter how attacking you are. It doesn't matter how Drew Dowdy-ish you are. You're not getting enough assists to make up for getting...
Very Dowdy, right?
Yeah, it's very Dowdy. Very Dowdy. And
he played 3,000 minutes and got 100 points, I want to say. Like,
and
he
I
was
feel like he
very
high
bad.
rolled, and he high rolled. I feel like on his assists from just watching them week on week. So, but I think he's just worth mentioning. You know, he's fun, new. You know, attacking,
cool, new,
set pieces. Yeah. But other than that, Leicester. I mean, Foss also a fine 4-0. He's going to play every game.
He's got goals in him, own goals in him.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would take him. I've played, or whenever I've put 2 4-0s with Barco, I put Foss in. I kind of back just like Cooper, and the squad I think is a little bit better than Southampton. Yeah. So I feel like Foss is fine, you know, for a 4-0. But yeah, you're just not expecting cleans really anywhere here from these.
You're not getting any of these guys to start. Just the fixtures are just too bad.
I mean, we both like Barco a lot. Do you like Foss more than Harwood Bellis, or would you put Leicester over Southampton, or the other way around?
It's just, you know, it's picking between 2 bad picks for me. Like, I have made tinkers with Harwood Bellis because I've heard he's really good, and I haven't watched him play, and I'm like, their fixtures are a little better, sure, whatever. But I've put very little time into actually thinking, like, between these 2 players, who do I like? Because I just don't think they're like startable for a while. And by the time we know who's okay and who's terrible, you know, we'll make the decision then. We'll transfer them in then, or we'll wildcard them in then. That's kind of how I'm looking at them.
Okay. Liverpool and Man City. I do want to just talk on 2 players here that are 4-5. Okay. Liverpool have Kwanzaa and City. Rico. Yeah, Rico for City. Anything there for you?
I mean, they both fall under the, like, they could actually play a lot of minutes, but right now they're not picked. Right? Like, I think they both, like, Kwanzaa could just win that spot, or Konate is likely to get injured and then Kwanzaa just starts every game, or, you know, maybe Walker takes a step back. I mean, he was certainly bad in the Euros, and, like, he sometimes gets hurt, whatever. Like, maybe Rico just takes over, and he's always looked so good whenever he subs on, or when he randomly gets a start. So I think they're both, like, yeah, definitely ones to watch, and definitely not game week 1 picks.
Okay. My only thing, I'm probably more on Rico than Kwanzaa, because with Kyle coming back late and being fucking 80 years old, you know, Pep, it wouldn't be unbelievable if Pep just didn't play Walker for a month. You know, and just like, your season starting in September, you know, keep doing whatever.
So, like, dramatic, obviously, always. But, like, he's been like, oh, we're just going to try and, like, not drop points until the first international break. Like, I have none of my guys left. Like, obviously, they're going to be fucking fine. Their team's unbelievable. But, like,
of course,
you know, I could see Rico, like, starting the first 3 games or something like weird like that. Yeah.
It's because the other thing I've been playing around with is the notion of, like, how is Rico a pick? Is, you know, we also know from last year, which there's no guarantee that this persists, but if he didn't start, he'd never subbed on. So, true. You know, do you have a team where you're sort of like, I'm going to put him in and start him every week and see what happens with Kyle? You know, this is it's August 4th right now, and we have a long 2 weeks to go where we'll have more Kyle information. But, you know, that's a thing. I think it's something, you know, it's just something.
If you're late riser and you're wild carding game week 3 or game week 4, do you just put him in? Like, is that the type of punt that you're just like, I'm just going to start him for 3 game weeks. Hopefully he starts 2 and doesn't sub on in the other one.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, to me, it's like, to me, it would be the kind of thing. I mean, I'm looking at my team, right? And I have Mattson is still the tenuous pick.
Yeah.
And then I have a 4-5 defender. Like, do I just put in Rico and then put in whoever behind him? And I'm just like, if Rico plays, great. And if not, then it's, you know, Aina. I just get Aina in.
Right.
You know,
that's feasible, but you know, with your team more specifically, like, you're not bench boost. You can't bench boost with Rico.
Yeah, it's a waste.
Because you might get a 0.
Unless if he says like, oh, Kyle still needs to go to the sauna or whatever. Right. All right, and then Kwanzaa, I think he's just better than Konate, honestly. So
I don't, but in the one department that he's absolutely better. It's just passing, like just on the ball.
And that's all he cares about.
Yeah, like if the preseason is an indication of how Liverpool are going to play, there's just going to be a super high possession, passing, build out from the back team. Yeah, he might just fit. He might just fit better. Gomez is also a shout there. He's a good passer.
If he's still there.
But yeah, I mean, it's all very weird. I go back to the beginning of the pod where I said, like, I don't remember being this close to game week 1 and knowing this little, right? Yeah. Like Liverpool's a perfect example, right? Like, I think Konate actually did play 45 last game, but
he started.
Diaz, Maka, Allison, Gakpo, Darwin, Trent, Virgil, Robbo, Gomez, and I'm probably missing like 5 other guys that played 0 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, what? The season starts so soon. How is this possible?
Yeah.
So it's everything's very in flux all over the place.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Man United next. Yeah. So, we talked about Lissandro a little bit at 4-5. I mean, Euro hurt for months, which is not good. Where are you? I'm like hard out on Man U. I think just hard everywhere, but
yeah. No, it has to be a hard out. I was definitely interested whenever that was, 2 weeks ago, when it was like they got Euro, they might get Ugarte, like huge upgrades. And then Euro's out for months. They haven't gotten Ugarte, so it's probably going to be Casemiro again. Casemiro, Mainu, nightmare. And it's similar to what I was saying with like some other teams. It's like their defense was relegation caliber, and they did absolutely nothing to improve it.
Yep. Yeah.
What are we doing?
It went from when the game came out, we were looking at Lissandro as well.
Oh my God.
Like this, and that
mispriced. They completely mispriced them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's already kind of starting to smell over here. So okay. So we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Newcastle. What's up with them? Trips not leaving.
Trips isn't back yet. And he's played 0 minutes.
And isn't leaving.
And maybe isn't leaving. And then Livra and Hall have been starting every game. And then Byrne is the only other guy who has a shout to partner Shar, right? At this point.
As of now, Gay, he is like,
if they get Gay or if they get Gomez, like that muddles it up a little bit. But like, so they have a lot of 4-5s as of right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you do with this? Fixtures are pretty decent. I mean, they only have one home banker, and it's game week 1, Southampton. Then away Bournemouth, you don't love. Home Spurs, you don't love. Away Wolves is fine. Away Fulham's okay. And then a home City. So it's like not very good, but not that bad.
It's really risky because they're clearly in the market right now.
Right.
And, they even, like with Lloyd Kelly, like, who is the 4-5 pick? It might be Hall.
The most nailed of all these guys is Byrne.
Well, he's the most nailed if this is the team. And he also might very quickly unnail himself because we know that Edward has not been Hall's biggest, like, player of minutes.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't. And we've seen him play. We like him. I mean, he's good.
He's good.
We've seen Byrne. Byrne's bad. He's not good. And, Hall might be a better left back than Byrne, and Lloyd Kelly might be a better center back than Byrne. So, and they might buy.
And Kelly also is like depth at left back, right? Like, so.
Yeah. And I mean, And what's his name? They were even fucking starting, Jamal Lewis Redux from years past. Like he's there still. They just have so many guys. Yeah. And they have the home Southampton fixture game week 1, which is really attractive. So, but I think Byrne's in too many teams is basically what I'm saying.
I agree. I think you need to like look at the fixtures and say, do that thing, right? Like, how many games am I starting Byrne? Because I think after game week 1, there's a pretty good chance that you're not starting him in the other ones. If you have Barco and another 4-5 that you're like rotating that one spot with, which I think is most teams. So I don't like it, but if you can, let's just say like Trips is out, or Trips still 0 minutes going into game week 1, or he might get sold or whatever, and you get one guaranteed start from like Livramento attacking home Southampton. It's like, is that just good enough? Like, is that good enough? 10-point ceiling or something like that in that game.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe, but I they haven't been at the top of my list at all.
Yeah, no, me too. But I do think that there's some interesting names here, and it's very confusing as of August 4th to pick anything out here. I think we'll have a much clearer picture as the next 2 weeks kind of come to pass, and we see if they do any activity trips. The picture needs to get more clear, so maybe we'll revisit them in a couple of weeks a little bit closer.
And like Joe Linton's back, that's huge. And like after the first month, I think is when Tonali's back, that's huge. But like right now there's just so much like influx. I just don't really have a read. Yeah.
And then NFO, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, the fixture run, right?
Absurd
home
run.
Bournemouth, at Southampton, home Wolves, at Liverpool, at Brighton, home Fulham, first 6. So, those are 4.5 good starts in the first 6.
Yeah.
I think at Brighton is maybe like a half, right?
Right.
So what do you, and the goalkeeping question, very much a question. Sells keeps starting.
Starts every game.
Yeah.
In preseason. Yeah.
Yeah. Casa Miguel played half a game. Last came subbed on at halftime with the team. She was a little bit
in a weird way. That's like a worse omen for him being a starter, right? You'd rather him play 0 minutes and then start the next game with the starters as opposed to coming on with the backups.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Sells, it seems like, is going to be starting. Yeah. I think he's just bad. So, like,
bad.
I don't love that bad. He's there. I mean, they had so many set piece issues. Him claiming is just, I don't like him. And Miguel wasn't bought for a shit ton of money, and who knows? They buy goalkeepers every other day. But I'm worried there. But all the defenders are 4-5. I mean, Aina, Murillo, Nico Williams, and Nico, ECO, baby. The Welsh version.
And not the
where are you at?
Best young winger in the fucking world.
And they brought Milinkovic in, who's seems like another adequate center back to just add to the room.
Milinkovic seems kind of fun, just because I have never seen him play in my life, but all he does is win header. He's just like 99th percentile win header guy.
He's the same one that starts as center back for Serbia, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, he's good. No, I've seen him play a handful of games.
So like, I like the fact that they're like, they look at the team, the data team at the Forests, the Trees are just like, where are we bad? Oh, we're the worst set piece team in the league. 6'8" keeper, Milinkovic in, we're going to win every header. No problem. But the keeper doesn't seem like he's won the job. Milinkovic, on the other hand, kind of seems like he might just start alongside Murillo, and that just might be the center back. So pretty good. I got to like pour a little bit of fire, I think, on the Aina. I see
fire, or what are you pouring on?
Well, because like I feel like he comes up every other day in our Discord, even though he's 0.8% owned. So like no one outside of our Discord owns it, maybe. Him. But he's just not actually attacking. Like it's just like a myth.
Yeah, it's partially true. I like him. I don't know. I always have.
Yeah, this is a true. How much do you believe in the underlyings, and how much do you believe in Espirito Santo?
Yeah. Well, where are you at? Every day
top 6 in the league.
Every day I wake up, I have a completely different worldview of this team.
Yeah, I mentioned this to you, and we could dive in our team. We probably won't have time this pod, but we'll have plenty more potting next week to go fully in our teams. But I keep tinkering like 9 to 10 person teams and being like, this is a pretty good structure, and then screenshotting that and not completing it. And he is like a 4-5 Forest defender is in a lot of the tinkers in teams where I'm like, I want to start a 4-5 every week. It's like, again, their fixtures, absurd. Their defense, pretty good. The only week you don't want to start them is game week 4 at Liverpool. It's fine to start them every other week. Nuno, clean sheets, blah, 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 blah. But most of my teams, I'm not really starting a 4-5 every week. And so none of them make my team.
Yeah.
Like if Miguel was nailed and I could go like Miguel Turner in that world, he would be high on the list. He has the early fixtures. It's a 4-5-4-0 combo, nailed, whatever. But he's just not nailed.
Well, Sells looks like
I just don't feel comfy, right? I mean, Sells is bad. And they're going to lose some game 3-2 because they lose every game 3-2 somehow. and Sells is gonna like flap at some near post corner, and he's just gonna get dropped, right? Like that's just what's gonna happen. Or Miguel starts and he's gonna fuck something up because he's 25 and never got out of the Brazilian league, and then he's gonna get dropped for Sells.
Yeah. So I mean, of the defenders, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. The keepers, I've wanted it so bad.
I wanted it.
It doesn't look like it's in the cards. But of the defenders, who do you like? Milinkovic? Is that your?
I kind of like him just because he's like, I just like a guy who's just like sending it. And I'm just going to head everything, kill everything in my path. He's just full Godzilla mode. Like, kind of into that. The real perverted pick would be like Nico.
Yeah.
Former FPL flop who is actually attacking.
Is he going to play? I mean, I'm so worried about him
playing. Not there anymore, right? I think.
Yeah, that's correct.
So who the hell is going to play? I mean, they don't have anyone else to play.
I don't know who many of the players are on this team.
I mean, they have guys.
They have new guys all the time.
At the end of last season.
Yeah, he could play Boley at fullback, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I don't know what he's doing, or he doesn't play a fullback, and he plays He plays a midfielder just at wingback. You know?
Yeah. I mean, their last game, you got to take something from preseason. Their last game seems like. This is my starting 11. I mean, it was Sells.
11.
Yeah, like it was Sells and keeper. The back line was Nico, Milinkovic, Murillo, Aina, Danilo and Sangare, double pivot, Elanga, MGW, Cho, and Wood up top. Like that's their 11, right? Like,
yeah, it should be something
like that.
If
they start that again against Olympiacos, I think we can feel confident that like that's the team, at least for game week 1.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested in Nico. I still have time for him.
I'm interested.
I mean, if I'm going to pick someone on this team, I mean, it's not going to be like Murillo, where I'm just, holding on to hope for the clean. Like, I want to have a little bit of like spice with my pick here, where I can at least maybe hope to spike something. And
I agree.
Yeah, Nico's that. And I also like the propensity for Nico to sub off, which is huge, I think, for this team, because they kind of suck, and I don't trust them at all. So, it's a strict fixture play.
Than like, I have your defender and they're up 1-0, and the last 30 minutes of the game is just going to be 9 corners from the other team and 85% possession. Yep. It's just like, oh God, no. But, like at the end of the season, I think Nico got hurt at the end, but he was starting every single game at right back, every single game, getting shots, like creating some chances, like taking some set pieces. So there's something there.
Yeah, Nico, I'm interested. I mean, I could see myself having him, honestly.
Yeah, if I go with a structure where I'm like starting a 4-5, I could definitely see it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have
just puts crosses in all day.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have 1 4-5. I might have 2. And that 1 4-5 spot changes every day.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you that right now.
Stay tuned, folks, for more 4-5s, because that's all we're fucking talking about today. We're an hour in. There's still more 4-5s to go.
Fucking defense. We're almost done.
Well, also,
Spurs.
Hold on. Let me piss, because I'm just too excited.
We haven't gotten past defense, and you're pissing?
An hour per piss? Not bad.
All right.
Okay, ready to tit. Let's go.
All right. So 2 more teams, Spurs and Wolves.
Where are we at? Spurs and Wolves. And West Ham.
And West Ham. Sorry, 3 teams.
The W teams. Yeah.
So we have Van de Ven, 4-5.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they put him there. He's still good value. He's good on bones. And I gotta say, like, I really do believe this, that when they're fully fit, I still think they're a pretty okay defense. Yeah. Whereas, like, we know what happens as soon as they're missing one piece. They're bottom 5 defense. Yeah. But right now, game week 1, everyone's fit. All the midfields are fit. All the midfielders are fit. All the defenders are fit. Like, they're pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. Pictures, weird. You start him for the first 2. You really don't want to start him for the next 2. Then you put him back in the lineup. Kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah. He's fine. He just hasn't been... I don't know. Well, I'm at Poro, so I'm not doomed too. So we know that. But yeah, he's fine.
2,300 minutes, 10 bonus, like that's good,
Yeah.
like.
And we don't know what's going to happen with the bonus of the defenders this year, that said, but yeah, no, he's fine. He's fine.
Right.
He's a pick.
He's a pick.
Yeah.
Absolutely no problem with him and teams.
Yeah.
And he's fine. But not much else to say about him.
No. I mean, West Ham are difficult to talk about because their fixtures are so bad.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, and
that's the
I could
line.
see myself having 3 West Ham defenders at some point this year.
At some point in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we know
right
what
now,
does.
Do we just skip?
Yeah, I think it's a skip. I mean, we know what he does. They're going to be a good defense.
They're going to be a nightmare.
Yeah. And then Wolves, we already said we're skipping them because they don't have any. So we're done with defense.
Yep. Done.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Whoa. Fuck. All right. Hour.
Yeah, I mean,
let's go.
I'm looking at these questions if there's any that are worth. I mean, Heim said it seems like 4-0 defenders are back on the menu. Is it bait for sickos or is there value to be found there? And, Hardly Boy is basically asking the same thing. Like, should we just go as cheap as possible in defense and pump it all into attack? I mean, I kind of think it's bait outside of Barco, but what do you think?
The 4-0s, like, having 2 4-0s and 3 start every week, I think is fine. I think it's a perfectly fine strategy. I think that's fine. Yep. You just have to be prepared to spend a transfer immediately if one of your 3 guys gets hurt. Like, it's not, I'll just start this 4-0 defender for week. Unless if Barco is actually just great, which could be the case.
Absolutely could be the case.
He could be a start every week player for sure. Like Purvis is.
And we just don't know it yet. Yep.
Yeah, Purvis is, and he was last year. I mean, and he's, this could be the same kind of scenario. Yep. Outside of that, so that's fine. But in terms of just spending minimum at defense and like going 4-5s, I think it's fine. Like, I honestly think it's still fine. Like, if you wanted to put 5-4-5 or 4-4-5s in Barco, and you like the amount that you get in attack for getting the extra 2 million in your attack and rotate. Yeah. Go. I think that's fine. I think it's totally fine.
Yeah. I agree. I have to admit, I haven't really looked that closely at specific rotations, but I'm sure that there's multiple interlocking 4-5s that I'm like, this is great. And I start, like they have no bad pictures if I rotate this.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's good.
Even if it's not these strict, these 2 for this spot and these 2 for that, and it's a little bit sloppy, like we just spent an hour talking about 4-5 defenders, and we touched on 14 teams in the league. Yeah. So, I mean, if you can have a West Ham, Spurs, Man United, Palace, Everton, Villa, like you can have 4 of these teams represented and Barco, Bright, like you're fine. You're going to be fine.
The absolute easiest way to do it if you're like, want to mess with this and you're interested is like start with Villa and just find someone to play game week 2. Or start with Palace and find someone to play game week 3.
Yeah. I mean,
if you start there and you're just like, I actually like this other guy. Insert any 50 4-5s that we just talked about.
Yeah,
that's a rotation. Like that's the start of a team structure.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah.
And something I was also just looking at playing when I was tinkering is like having Konsa, Pau, Anderson, like double Palace, double Villa, and then someone else. And it's like you could start 2 and 1 or just those 4. Like that's good. It's good. If you have Bark, or whoever your 5th guy is, but you can either, depending on how good or bad they don't rotate strictly with each other, but I mean, there are definitely Michaelenko. I don't know. I mean, there are so many 4 or 5 guys that you could definitely put in, 5 of them or 4 plus Barco and I think that you'll be happy with that.
Villa's the one that is like, I just don't know what to expect. Because last year they were just not very good in defense. Straight up, not very good. Underlines, whatever. Cleans, whatever. They made a couple moves. They subtracted Doug Luiz. They put in Onana. They got a new left back. Now they have 3 left backs. They're, a little more fit. But like they're mostly the same team. And I'm just like kind of betting on Emery and betting on like, another year they're going to get better. They're good. But if we're wrong, then that is a huge hit to like, if you do double up, like that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's a wild card in game week 4 because they're bad. And
Yeah.
I can't keep starting 2 of these guys.
Yeah, and that's possible because he
Very
plays
possible.
the high line. I mean, it's not. I mean, we know he's a good manager. And we know it's a good team. We think the clean sheets are going to come, and they might just not. I mean, this just might be the team that they are, and he might be happy with this team playing this way usually. And in that case, Matsson's going to have to get attacking returns for it to be worthwhile. And
I mean, everyone knows Klopp's a great manager. He intentionally sold the team out last season defensively. It's not like he didn't know what was going on. It's not like he's like, this is the best way to get clean sheets. He just did the math and said, we'll get more from our attack if we play this way than, if we don't. That might just be the same exact thing that Emery's doing. Just like, we play this way, we're going to win more games than we lose. And that's all you need to do. So,
yeah.
All right. Anyway,
let's go. Midfield. Let's go to mid. So what's our bracket here?
6 and under. Which is legitimately 1,000 guys. So we need to just pick and choose who to talk about. I think we can't go like team by team or anything.
We're definitely not doing that at all. So I mean, let's just throw people back and forth. Who do you want to talk about?
Well, let's nominate Rodgers because you just talked to the Villa guy on the fireside last week, who's like certain that Rodgers is the best pick in the game. He's the backup forward. He's the fucking best player in the league. Jeff D said, "Can you explain why people are horny for Morgan Rodgers?" Are you convinced? Like, is he just in your team and he's 5 million and he's scoring in every preseason game and he's just a beast?
Yeah, well, he didn't score last game, but
sure.
He's in my team. He's in my team. He's really good. He looks really good. And I do trust Luke. He said, trust me, I trust him.
Yep. Shout out to Luke.
Is he going to be starting game week 6? Like, I don't know. But I like this was kind of back to what is he doing in my team? In my team, he's just on my bench first. He's in my bench.
Bench boost for game week 1.
Yeah, he's bench boost for game week 1. And maybe I'll start him in game week 3. I don't see what happens.
Yeah. Right.
The trajectory of him being best pick in the game is there, though. I firmly believe that. I mean, from watching him, I did more watching of him after I had the pod with Luke, and he kind of reminds me of back when Brent and Ham were coming up and we were watching like Ben Rama and Bumo when they were like in the flamp. And I'm just like, oh, wow. Like both of these players are fucking amazing. Yeah, and I'm like watching him playing for Burrow and I'm just like watching his touches and his vision. And, these are obviously like the good actions that he's doing. I'm just like, oh yeah, he's fucking sick. And then I watched a little bit more of like the last couple games that he played for Villa last year when he was putting good performances and getting returns. And I feel like when new players I've never heard of at the end of the season come on when teams are kind of beachy, I just like doesn't register. Totally didn't even register. I was like, who is this? Like, I don't know. I don't care. Like, I'm barely watching Villa anymore. He was fucking amazing. Like, he was just great. And he's been
under the radar, great signing by them. Because like no one, he wasn't really on any radars. He was just a pretty good championship player. And then in January, they swooped him in for not that much money, and he was really good.
Yeah. And, they have the great fixture run. Getting rid of Diaby is, that could be, right, reading tea leaves that they're high on Rodgers. They want to free up some minutes there for him. Yeah. They have a lot of, like, really young kids that he's competing with who are all just below him. And, Buendia's maybe a little bit of he might go if he stays. I don't know. But
has he even been playing? Like, is he even back? I
don't think so. I think
he's been playing very, very few minutes, Buendia. So like he's probably like
still not fit,
coming back from long-term injury. Yeah, building fitness. Same with Ramsey.
But he's also Rodgers really flexible. Like he can play. Like last game I watched a little bit. He was playing. They were playing a 4-4-2. He was up top with Archer like pressing, and he can play the second striker. He can play on the wing. I mean, So for $5 million, I think he's just a great pick. Great pick to start with, and just say like, could be out of my team in game week 4. He's not even an option.
Yeah.
And I will be fine with that if that's the case. Or it's game week 4 and he's 5.4 and he's like in every team, you know?
This is definitely one of those cognitive biases kind of moments for me. But like the only reason I haven't tinkered him in, even though like there's a good chance he's going to be in my game week 1 team, is I'm just like, all the teams I've made, I'm not starting him. He's just not a starter. And then I'm like, he's going to fucking get points on my bench, and it's so annoying.
Yeah. Well, this is back to, you and I haven't talked really since about what me and LR talked about, or me re-listening to the postmortem, but the whole notion of having an 8th attacker.
Yes.
You went through how many times we had players off our bench. It was like every other week.
So many. I don't even remember, but yeah.
Yeah, it was around, well, I remember because I just listened. It was like every other week. It was like 16 or 15.
Jeez, that's fucking crazy.
That are getting auto subbed. So, and you were talking about like, I don't know if he's in a start or not. He starts this game, comes off the bench for a half an hour. But the difference between having Rodgers, even if it's 30 minutes from having Winks, for 0.5. Like Winks is never getting more than 2 points, and he's usually going to get 1. Yeah. So I would rather have a sub appearance from Rodgers than a start from Winks. Not close. Not remotely close. So that 0.5 to me is doing a lot more there than, pretty much anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I do anticipate pressers to not help and for players to get COVID still. And,
whatever.
One of the other 7 guys to just anonymous or randomly just miss a game. So having the 8th attacker and having it be a 5 million that has attacking, I think it's just good. It's good. Yeah, it's good. I mean, the reasons why I might not have him is if I actually do want to rotate. Like I have a 6-5 mid and I have a 5 million mid in my team.
Right.
I might want to just put 2 5-5s. Like I will talk about Minta. I really like Minta a lot. Like there's Kamada. I mean, there are 5-5 guys,
And that's kind of what T-Cap's question was. Sorry to cut you off, but he was like, I'm tinkering with a 2-5-5 midfielder rotation and a 3-5-2. My choices are Kamada, Minta, Harvey, Cho, Alanga. Rodgers easily affords you, all the expensive guys. Yeah. Is this a viable price tracker to balance out? And my takeaway from you on this topic from the UNLR pod was like, the other thing with having 8 attackers is like, it literally is just an extra dice roll, right? Sure. Like, because every pick is a dice roll, right? Like, you can say, okay, Haaland is weighted towards a fucking 90% he's going to score points or whatever. Like, they're not all equal, obviously. But the confidence difference between like a 6-5 mid and a 5-5 mid is pretty small. And if I get 2 rolls on a 5-5, that's a big deal. That's like, I have a way higher chance of getting one of them right. Yeah.
I think that's a very important and good point and thing to think about. Yeah. Because, I mean, 6-5, 5-5, 6-0. I mean, there aren't any 6-0 picks anyway, and that's the other thing too with this is that I've been thinking about that I'm trying to like catch myself is just because Rodgers is 5-0 doesn't mean that Minta or Kamada is like better. Like they could just be worse just because they're 0.5 more. Like Rodgers could be still like that pick, and I don't need to buy a 5-5 guy who I think is better. It might just not be,
Look at, all you need to do is look at ownership, right? Like Rodgers could easily be better than all of the 6-5s. Then the ones that are highly owned are
I don't know about easily, but
Garnacho, Kudus, Rodri, MGW, Rice. I'm like, no, I'd probably rather have Rodgers than all of the guys I just listed, at least for game week 1.
Yeah. So Rodgers.
Yeah, good. Any other Villa guys we need to talk about?
Not sub 6-5. I don't think so. I mean, maybe McGinn on pens is like a Doug Luiz version 2.0 if that's the case, but we don't know. Yeah. But you haven't tinkered Rodgers in yet.
It's nothing against Rodgers. I think he's a good pick. It's just like he just hasn't ended up in one of my screenshots, but that's meaningless. I think part of it has to do with like Matson's been in almost all of them, and Bailey's been in almost all of them. I'm like, and if I'm not going Haaland, Ollie's 100% nailed. So then I'm like, I guess I'm not going Rodgers. But no, he's a good pick, and that's why, to answer Jeff's question, that's why everyone's excited about him.
Yeah.
All right, who do you want to throw at me?
Let me see here. Well, let's go to Minta. I mean, Minta is really like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
How are you seeing him? I mean, the thing that's so fucking crazy to me is that, I've been watching Brighton's preseason more than any other team, really, because they have so much uncertainty, and I'm curious about a lot, and he's just playing every minute.
Yeah.
Newcastle fucking sold him for a shit ton of money.
PSR.
And they have, it's like the PSR is like, and now they have Jacob Murphy playing right wing. It's like, what are you doing? What are you guys doing? I mean, I guess it's like they had to sell someone, but like Saudi he looks fucking amazing.
The Saudi shit is like, it's very crazy. Tragic, but it's funny because there's the Saudis. But like, they bought the team at the single worst point in Premier League history to buy a team. Because they're just like, we're going to buy so many players, and then they just get instantly PSR fucked and have to sell Elliot Anderson and Minta, who like they definitely wanted to keep both of them, and they just can't. But I mean, Minta, I haven't watched Feyenoord play last year, but a lot of Liverpool fans have, so I've like kind of, I see things here and there on like Twitter, Discord, whatever. He's sick. Like he's supposed to be sick. There's very smart people are saying, why didn't Liverpool get him? And I think that's a very reasonable thing to say. It's like a potential, back depth piece, but potential future like Salah replacement or something like that. His numbers are out of control. He looks really good. I mean, there's just these guys every year that just have so much steam. And it's like, I mean, I get it. They're in form. They look great. They're playing every minute. There's nothing bad to say about him, really. Yeah, I mean,
he's an inverting winger kind of forward type player, right? I mean, these are the guys that, and he looks electric. Like, it's
and that's what he's supposed to be. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that matters. Like when it's, I hear about a guy and he's supposed to be this. He's supposed to be fast and 2-footed, and you can't stop him on the dribble and all these things. And then you see him play preseason games, and he's literally every single one of those things ticked off, and you're just like, "Oh, I guess that was just right." You know?
Yeah. And I mean, thinking about him and Matoma is a nightmare from a defense. It's like, what are we supposed to do here? I mean, we give him help, and then it's this on the other side. We give him help, it's this on the other side. João Pedro dropping it everywhere. I mean, it's really just the Hertzler. Like, is he going to attack? Or he likes to control a little bit more. But dude, he's 5'5".
I know.
I don't know. Have you played with him? Is he? I mean, he's in and out of my team also.
In and out of my team also. Like, and they don't really have a banker until like game week 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And so that's tough too, because he's the exact profile of player that like by the time it's game week 4, maybe he's not nailed.
Yeah.
Not even, and it might not even have anything to do with like playing well or playing badly. It's just, they have so many guys. They're 2 pages deep of guys. They have all these guys who are coming back. Yeah, March. Yeah. So many. And Ciso, Pedro, Ferguson. It's just a million guys to mix in and mix and match. And he's 19, right? You don't want to play him.
Yeah, he's 19.
3,000 minutes.
Yeah, he can't. Season. He's not going to. Yeah, which is like...
that's like a little bit of pause, because I'm like, am I feeling great about him at Everton, home Man United, at Arsenal? Like, no, but at the same time, you don't want to miss out on this kind of player because he's so exciting. It's so explosive.
Yeah, and it is sort of, you're not buying him for the whole season. And no, he won't play 3,000. He'll probably get hurt because he's 19. He's a little fucking kid. He played in the Netherlands with, farmers for a year when he was 18, and he just
turned 20 13 days ago.
Okay, yeah, I mean, he just clowned on them, and they don't, it couldn't get near him. Now he's going to be getting fucking brutalized in the Premier League and shit like that. But it's
and
he literally
weighs less than me. Like, he's very little.
Yeah. And I mean, it could be a little bit where it's like, like a Rodgers, it's risky. I mean, you don't know if he's playing game week 6. He just might be second choice. He might be hurt, who knows? But it also just might be the train leaving the station, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is just one of the best players in the league. He has that potential to me. Yeah. Like in the whole Premier League, not fantasy pick.
Have talked very highly of him. Like people that I'm like, oh, I'm listening to what you're saying.
Yeah. And I mean, home Ipswich game week 4, home NFO game week 5, home United game week 2 could be good. At Everton's probably not.
I mean, home Man United should be good. If we're being realistic about where they're at currently. No defensive midfielder, no center backs other than Alessandro. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's such a tweener FPL pick because if you're wildcarding early, you don't love his early fixtures, so it doesn't make that much sense. And if you're not wildcarding early, it's like, do you want him just as your 8th attacker on the bench, and then you bring him in when he already might be not nailed every game and they're rotating? It's like, I don't know what to do with him. I just don't know what to do with him. I wish he had the good fixtures game week 1 through 3, or something to make it easier, but it's not there.
I just feel like when we have going into game week 1, not knowing much, and you're looking at this bracket, you want to try and hit like 21, like blackjack. You don't want to try and get like 15 and hope the dealer over
bust.
Bust, right? Where he could be so fucking amazing, and I think he's a great pick. I just do. For game week 1, I think he's a great pick.
Yeah.
Inverting winger, that's what he likes to do. Not a lot of players profiling in that specific category of like donger from that position.
Yeah.
From the right wing coming on the left, like 5.5, dude. It's so cheap.
Yeah. And as of right now, he basically has no competition. I know we mentioned all these other guys are going to come back, but like, Enciso's played no minutes. March has played no minutes.
Yeah, I think Enciso's played a little, hasn't he? But he's playing in like deeper. Isn't he playing in Central?
I thought Enciso still wasn't even back from Copa.
I thought I saw him in one of the squads, and he was playing. I thought he was playing centrally, like more like as an 8 or something.
Yeah, and then because I guess you could argue Pedro is kind of competition because he can play anywhere. He can just legit play any of the front attacking 4, but like. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like his spot to lose right now. And, they have 1 game a week. They're not going to like kill him with minutes, if he just locks it down.
Yeah. And, it's there are a lot of 5.5 picks this year, I feel like more than usual, where, in years past.
We always get baited by the 5.5s.
We do. This is our kryptonite. But there's Kamada, there even like Semenyo. I mean, there are players. Everton has 5.5 guy. Like there are players that play. Yeah. So I'm just in the standpoint of, say he doesn't score game week 1, gets subbed early game week 2, bench game week 3, drops down to 5.4,
Yeah.
It's not good, but you don't have to rip your team up to get a new guy necessarily either. I mean, it's again not good, but
yeah.
All right. That's enough on Minta.
Good pick. I'm going to throw one back at you. Oscar Bob. Jitterbug said Oscar Bob 5.0. He's surely too good a price to not punt if you're just thinking about game week 1 and game week 2.
Yeah. I mean, this is very Rico Lewis-esque to me.
Right? At Chelsea is fine attacking, and then home Ipswich is the best attacking fixture in the league. It's gonna be Jack and him, right? Like first, before no one's back yet, no one's played yet.
It might be.
I mean, I expect it to be.
Might be, yeah. I mean, I haven't really thought about having him in my team because I think the medium term, like it's so dead end. Like he's short. He will not be starting very soon.
Yeah,
but if you're looking,
he won't like once that moment in time hits, he's not a pick for the rest of the season.
Unless they would have to have multiple injuries.
Yeah.
So,
but early,
yeah. Sure.
Pick.
I mean, if you're looking at your team and saying, "I will be wildcarding game week 3 for sure,"
3 or 4.
Yeah, sure. Sure. But there's also the other world where, like, no one's back. It's August 4th. How much time do they need to ramp up? Like, Foden, he's fucking runs a marathon every day. I mean, he could also just not start Ipswich. Maybe he only has 1 game.
Yeah, it might be 1 game.
Yeah, and it's like, not
fuck.
even. Yeah, and then it's like, that sucked. Shit. I thought I was getting him for more than 1 game, and I built my team this way, right?
Yeah.
So I just,
you're obviously if you're putting him in your team. You're either saying, I'm going him and Rodgers because I'm going with so many expensive players, like you wouldn't believe how many expensive players I'm going. Or you're saying he's better than Rodgers, which is
crazy.
A very hard sell.
Yeah, no, it's just incorrect.
Yeah, so like I think it's possible to build a team where like you just run out Bob for the first two and just hope he starts. And if he doesn't, he probably won't sub on and it's not that bad. And then he's on your bench and like whatever. But you're like threading a big time needle. You're basically like committing to having like a red flagged player on your team and a 2-man bench for like until you wild card.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't like it. Don't like it very much.
Okay.
Don't like it very much.
Hit me back with one.
What about, I mean, Harvey's getting a lot of helium because he looks good, but this is also, as you teased about 20, maybe it was an hour ago when we were talking about defense, that 7 of the first 11 players are not back. You know, do you see, where do you see Harvey's kind of going?
Yeah, a million guys aren't back. Like, you know, a lot of forward talent, obviously, at Liverpool. Everyone knows that. But also, they play with the number 10 now. And they haven't played with a number 10 in 10 years. Basically since Coutinho was a pick. And that's interesting because he's starting every game at number 10. He's absolutely dominating. He looks so good. I mean, someone in Discord was like, oh, it could be his breakout year. But like, if you look at his numbers, last year was his breakout year. His numbers are absurd. They're like elite passing numbers and shot creation numbers. It's just minutes. I mean, like a week ago, or was that 2 weeks ago, a lot of people were like, I'm Sobo curious. And then like Sobo starts in the double pivot. Meanwhile, Harvey starts at number 10 every week. It's like, if you were Sobo curious, you should be Harvey curious. He's $1 million cheaper and he's starting every game at number 10 and he looks incredible. Yeah, I mean, there's a pick there. Okay. We just know very little. That's the problem.
Yeah, we do know very little.
I think they have just the one more friendly, which is very common. 1 million guys haven't played yet, but I'd imagine with basically the pick of the litter going to the final friendly versus Sevilla, we'll get a very good idea if he's starting game week 1 or not.
I think he's starting game week 1.
I suspect that he doesn't really like Endo. He doesn't really fit his style.
Yeah.
And he's going to be playing a double pivot with not necessarily like a out and out DM kind of guy. Like it's going to be like a Curtis, Sobo, Maka, like kind of mix of guys.
Maka is my biggest issue here. I just think he's worse than Maka.
Right. Maka has done this at a higher level.
Yeah.
And
I don't think the two of them can coexist on the pitch together.
Right.
They're both like very slight, like very similar kind of ish. Well, they do a little bit different stuff, but yeah, I just don't see him playing 2,500 minutes. You know, like he's gonna like grab a spot and he's just like, you can't. He might be that good. He could be that good
because like I could see the double pivot being like Maka Curtis or Maka Sobo rotation for the whole season. Like I think that
Gravenberch is there. Like,
yeah, I mean the Grav, he's 20. You know, like he, you know, maybe him mixes in a little bit here and there. But I could see
Maka, Curtis, Harvey
starting most games.
So then one of them's not starting ever. It's like that's the thing is like I feel like they're just going to cannibalize each other.
Yeah, it's possible. Totally. Yeah. We also like another unknown in the list of very many unknowns. Like we have no idea if he rotates. But sure. I don't fucking know what Feyenoord we're doing, and it's not really even a 1-to-1 comparison. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you know, it doesn't really matter what he did back then.
So who cares?
So like we don't know if he's you know, Pochettino, these are my guys, and I'm never rotating my guys, or if he's, you know, Pepinho, and like I can just mix and match all the guys except Mo, and we're just gonna win most games. Yeah, don't know. But yeah, I love Harvey. Think he's very, very, very good. Obviously, you know, 3 and 6 and 1,300 minutes last year, crazy numbers. But yeah, don't know if he'll be in my team.
Okay. What about the NFO boys, Alonga and Cho?
Yeah, I mean, they're not that dissimilar to the NFO defenders, where it's like they all get big chances all the time. And like, I kind of believe the numbers and I kind of believe the eye test that they're like good at countering. I mean, they did buy one new guy. So, you know, I don't know how that's going to shake up the minutes. Jota Silva or whatever. Yeah. I don't think he's in the game yet, right? But
I don't think so.
Yeah, they're fine. I have no problem with those guys at all. They get chances. They score goals. Like, fine. Not
have
very
you put them
excited.
in your team at all? Or
early tinkers, I was just like, boom, straight in. Like that price is very low for, the like very high amount of chances kind of wingery guy, and like Cho, who I expect to basically start every game. I was going Cho, but just because I don't know, Alonga was like getting dropped here and there at the end of the last season. I don't really know why necessarily.
I feel like Cho fucking sucks though.
I mean, he's like, he just does his thing, but he's really good at his thing.
Yeah,
and
no one can stop it somehow.
Yeah, he cuts in and curls one with his right over and over and over again, and no one can stop it.
Right hand Robin.
So that's Robin. Like kind of like Mahrez Robin, like it's kind of a good FPL recipe, for like, if this guy just shoots 4 times a game, like, and just scores some goals, he's a good pick. But I've gone off them a little bit, but they have amazing fixtures, and they're pretty good picks, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I still see Cho in a lot of teams. I think he's sort of like a very popular 5/5.
I don't really get MGW, I have to say, like, just on the same topic, for $1 million more, getting more of the number 10 assist kind of guy. I know he's on set pieces, pens, but like, just give me the goal scorer for $1 million less. Like, I just think that $1 million goes a long way in your team.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's similar to what we talked about with like Doug last year, where you see these players who are really don't shoot a lot, really dependent on set pieces for points. Yeah. When they play the really bad teams, those are the games that they might get the set pieces, the pens, get more corners. So, yeah, I mean, in a whole like season standpoint, he just doesn't shoot. He just doesn't shoot enough. But for the first 5 or 6, I get it. I mean, I don't love it. I'm not going to have him.
He's the safest of the group.
He's playing every minute. He's got, got pens. You always get the free goals are free. But yeah, I hear what you're saying about the goal scorer. I mean, he's certainly less of a goal scorer than either Alonga or Cho for sure.
Yeah.
All right, who else do we want to touch on here in midfield?
I mean, ESR, right? He transferred from Arsenal.
And Pereira, I think we can lump both of them.
Sure. Yeah, let's do Fulham. So Todd said a 5/5 ESR who has the talent, and you think he'll start for Fulham. Is he a shout? I mean, seen a lot of people on our Discord being like, oh my God. I mean, most of them are Arsenal fans, to be fair, just being like, oh my God, ESR at 5/5, insane. I think he's good, and I think, I mentioned it earlier, I think he's better than insert any of their midfielders, but like, I have no faith in him staying fit. But for now, with their fixtures, you could go there. Short term, they have at Man United, which is good, and then home Leicester, at Ipswich. Like, that's insanely good. You could definitely start him until he gets hurt.
Yeah. It's really, not knowing who has pens is very annoying with Fulham. It would be really nice to know, but
they have no pens. Yeah, I guess they have no pens. They
had one, but Lukic took it, and I think no one else was on the pitch.
And did he make it? Because I'm not seeing him show up with any goal. Okay.
He scored it. I mean, ESR is, I feel like, almost very underrated because it's so easy to think it's like too much money and like he hasn't played in 3 years. But when he played, he was exactly what you want an FPL midfielder to be. Like, he doesn't do any fucking defense. He's in the other team's half the whole game, and he's just shooting as much as he can, right? He just shoots as much as he can. He's not even a fucking strike. He's not a forward. Yeah. So, the 5/5 price is very kind, and this is like post-hype sleeper to me, where, he had the huge little ridiculously hot finishing, scored it with he only had 1 shot a game in that run, but he was like subbing goals on. Yeah. But he was like, so he didn't play a lot of minutes that year, but with this opening run, we could finish game week 6. Yeah, it's the run. I mean, if they had hard fixtures, we wouldn't be considering him, but you could look at this after game week 6 and he is, by a lot, has the most points of any Fulham attacker. Like, that's a very, very reasonable world to live in. And he could have pens. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's good at pens. I have no fucking clue, Yeah, I don't know. And the fixtures are literally at United, Leicester, Ipswich, home West Ham, home Newcastle, at end of...
Insane.
We're talking about 5.
They don't get better.
We're talking about like when we're talking about the 5-5 midfielders, and we look at like Minta, which is, I think it's a very interesting kind of two sides of the coin where, Minta has superstar possibilities. ESR is like, he could be an adequate Premier League player.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And also, we're not buying their careers. We're not buying their seasons. We're buying them right now. And
we're buying
ESR also
1 month. Yeah.
Yeah. And that said, ESR could come in and be like, I don't speak Portuguese, so I don't know what anyone's doing. And Milv could be like, you can't play for a month until you learn what we're doing. Like, that's possible. We're looking at this like he's going to walk right into the team, which, he probably
I think he will for that fee,
Yeah. You think he would for the fee, and, they probably are going to make things easier for him. But yeah, ESR is a good pick. I like him a lot better than Hogelbaum.
It is interesting to me too. Not even close. I like Iwobi more than Hogelbaum, but I don't really want either of them.
You don't like Hogelbaum at all then, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want either of them. But
Hogelbaum and Pens, though, is interesting.
The ESR Minta comparison, I think, is a really interesting one. If we're like, I think we're both kind of like sidelining Rodgers as just like, he's the best of the picks, right? Like he's cheaper and nailed and like really good for early doors.
Yeah, I do
for
like him.
1 and 2 and maybe 3, and he's good.
Yeah.
If you compare ESR to Minta, like Minta, let's just assume they start all first 3 games before the international break. Minta's at Everton, home Man United's good, at Arsenal's the worst fixture in the league.
Yep.
Versus at Man United is okay, and then home Leicester, at Ipswich. I expect Fulham to outscore Brighton in those games, right? And I expect
definitely
if there's more goals, I expect more returns for ESR than Minta. In short term, right? So, I should probably play with him more, even though it's like you said, it's like sort of underrated. He's overrated, and then he's also underrated because paying that much money for him, I think, is just universally stupid. But that said, he's also kind of a pick.
I haven't put him in a team, and I didn't expect to talk today with you about him like in this way. But the more I do actually force myself to think about him, he makes a lot of sense. Like, and we haven't talked. Let's talk about Kamada next, right?
Palace guys
also 5-5, and he's definitely LR and I talked about him briefly. He, it sounds like he was kind of keen on him as like a high floor kind of option at this price bracket if he chooses someone in this bracket, which I think is a fair and reasonable assessment. But, I like how you're kind of looking at the first 3, because from the 5-5 price bracket, we've been here. It is the first 3. It's not the first 8.
3. No.
It's the first 3. It might even just be the first 2, because they price drop quickly. Players go up and down very quickly. Things change very quickly. Teams make transfers. So if you're a 5-5 midfielder, blanks, and then if you're a 5-5 midfielder, blanks 2 weeks and gets subbed off early in the second game week, you want to kill yourself. You're in like suicidal panic stations.
You're looking in the mirror. You're holding a lighter up to your eye, just admiring how your pupil gets big and small. You're fucking.
It's a
suicidal.
problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem. Yeah, it's code red.
Yeah, and like come on, like we have at Brentford, home Western, at Chelsea. Mixed bag.
Mixed bag. Not a banker.
No, not terrible, not great. Some or all of those 3 teams could be non-functioning in the first 3 game weeks because of all the things we've talked about so far.
Yes.
And also Kamada, kind of, how much is he going to shoot? Like, we know he has a brain on him. Like, how many chances is he creating? Like, what's his understanding going to be with like his teammates? Is
he going to play more 8-ish? Is he going to play in the front 3? Is that reserved for Sarr? Like, there's a lot of actual.
Yeah, I expect him to play the Elise spot initially, and that for Sarr to take that over as fast as he possibly can. And with Kamada, it's just he's not Minta upside where he's gonna all of a sudden he might just score 15 goals this year. It's like no, best case he scores 8 or 9.
And to be honest, before they bought Sarr, I was kind of thinking that. I was like, wow, he could be like a 10-6 or something like that.
Yeah, if he had 3,000 minutes
every game in the front 3 with Eze and Mateta, fucking amazing. And now I'm not really sure what they're going to do with him. He was a free transfer. He's really good and he's really versatile.
Yeah, he's on good wages, and I mean, I think he'll play a lot. He's gonna prove
he's gonna play a lot.
Too good. Yeah, he's too good. He will play a lot, but yeah, I mean, I think like the ESR, like looking at him, is just better. ESR is just better.
Better pick.
Just better fixtures, and he's just a better pick. So I mean, maybe ESR is actually low key, like maybe the best 5-5 pick.
ESR is not where I expected us to like
cross
piss streams and touch sticks.
I'm like, what? Like, what's happening right now?
Like, I was literally making fun of him 2 days ago for being like an insanely bad purchase.
Yeah, I've been making fun of him all year. But
and here's the good news also is that Fulham still have 2 friendlies left. They're one of the only teams that still has 2 friendlies left.
All right,
so
good.
Maybe we'll get some action. Like maybe we'll see sort of like them turning into this was likely to be the starting 11. ESR is playing number 10, which obviously you should play. Second striker number 10 kind of guy and looking good. And then it's like it makes it all easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's also with Minta and like touching on ESR and looking around is how many of the 5-5 picks are actually just legit attackers, you know, and it's not
that many.
There aren't 9, you know, there are like 4, like Harvey, right?
Even Minta, like he's great and he looks amazing. But like, if you actually look at like, where is he playing against these random Japanese teams? He's playing like right mid. He's not playing second striker Diaby, like,
and they play conservatively, which is a little concerning. Like Brighton they're conservative.
There's going to be games where Minta has no crosses, no shots, and no key passes, and plays well. Yeah, like he has 6 take-ons, moves the ball up the pitch, recycles possession, whatever, and does nothing.
Yep, agree.
Yeah, interesting. Right. Wow, ESR, holy shit. Any other 5? Shit. Any other 6 and under guys you want to talk about? I mean, West Ham just bought Somerville.
Yeah, he could be 5-5.
Could be. Ahmad is getting a little bit. You mentioned the Everton guys. Yeah, Sarr at 6. Not
initially, but eventually maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think from like the promoted size, Amari Hutchinson kid's a little bit interesting too. The Ipswich guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they paid a significant amount of money. He's coming over from Chelsea. He had really good stats last year and really good returns in the Flam.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's something there. And Southampton midfield looks pretty dumpster fire. And Leicester, they lost KDH, so they don't really have anything too much. I mean,
that Fatawu guy. Got like a lot of assists. He kind of plays like front 3.
Yeah, Mavropanos.
But again, like the fixtures. I'm so thankful that the promoted sides just don't have good fixtures.
Yeah,
because I'm just like, fuck them. I don't even want to think about them. Yeah. I'll watch all their games and then reevaluate.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Semenyo, I mentioned him earlier. I mean, he's 5-5 midfield. Could be something there. You know, I mean, we don't know where he's going to play or what he's going to be doing really, but you know, I mean, and it's a little bit more crowded than the 4-5 striker bracket, which is what he was playing in last year.
Yeah.
But and you know, Everton have all the guys, all their midfielders. They got the new guy, the new guy they brought in.
Maybe going to be or whatever.
Well, he's a striker, but the Lindstrom or what's his name?
Lindstrom, yeah.
I mean, he's maybe on set pieces and stuff, which could be interesting because you know you like to have your guys on set pieces. A 5-5 midfield bracket for sure, but yeah, I think
only other guy I'd throw in there, just pure. I just really like him whenever I've seen him play, which is very infrequently. Is Shada. He's started every game, and I have no idea what the hell Brentford are doing. They have injured Thiago. They haven't played Tony a single minute because he's been away with England, and they're trying so badly to sell him. But Shada's just like, in my opinion, just better than all their other forward players other than Mbumo. Like putting the strikers aside because we don't know what's happening, but like better than KLP, better than Wissa, like starting every game, scoring goals in preseason. I just think he's really good and young and like, you know, he has potential.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Not a pick, but could be a pick.
Yeah, I mean, they have away Liverpool, away City, away Spurs. 3 of the first 5. It's pretty rough. So,
all right, striker.
Let's move on. Holy shit, dude, striker.
We're good.
Well, actually, there's less.
There's not that
strikers.
much striker.
Yeah, there's less strikers, and we got to start with DSL. DSL. I just said DCL. We got to start with DSL
Internet
versus cable versus FiOS and upload speed.
2000
DCL, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't talk about the DCL that much with LR, but that was one of the other postmortems. For a big one was like DCL's a pick. He got a free goal the other day. He's missed all of his other actual open play goals in preseason, which
That's why we got him.
That's why you got him for the chance created. But
yeah, I mean, Warren wrote in like DCL post-cog reminder. He seems the forgotten man among the 6-0 forwards.
Yeah, no, I haven't been there because I've been really happy with the expensive front three that I have in my team. I definitely would pick him over Muniz. If I was picking a 6 million forward, I would definitely
even
pick
with the fixtures.
Even with the fixtures.
Okay.
Muniz, I like, and also I don't trust at all. I mean, I don't trust either of these players, but the free goals are so free and the chances continually happen, and all they can do is create chances for DCL, and Fulham could do different things. Like Muniz is maybe just way better than DCL, so he might just like take a runner away someone else, because DCL doesn't know how to do that. He's a fucking idiot. He just like puts on his purple clothes and his sunglasses, like, and that's all he cares about. He's just going straight down route one, like that's all he can do, right? Yeah. So I like DCL as a pick a lot more than Muniz from that standpoint, but
Muniz is, I mean, we might as well just talk about both of them at the same time. Because Muniz is so abnormal. I mean, he was like barely a prospect. I mean, we're talking about a guy who couldn't crack Middlesbrough's starting 11 in 22-23 in the Flamp. Barely played for Fulham in the Flamp the year they got promoted. Was basically unknown except for, Milv. And then he just starting and was legitimately fucking amazing for like 5 months.
Yeah.
And so like if you're projecting forward, I mean, you have to take a little bit of what he used to be into your projection. You can't just be like, this guy's just a superstar, right? Like that makes no sense. But like at the same time, he could be. We've seen his upside and it's really good, should be in every team kind of level. But yeah, like you said with DCL, right? He's been doing this for years. Just good underlyings, big chances all the time. Dyche is smart.
Scoring.
Yeah, and not scoring. Well, sometimes he occasionally scores.
He did for 1 year, 4 years ago. He was great 4 years ago.
Oh my God. I mean, he's high percentile on clearances and aerials one. That's why you get him.
Yeah.
I think it's more safe. And then you mix in with the fixtures, and I think it's a fucking toss-up. Because, I mean, Everton are home Brighton. It's okay, maybe bad. I don't know. At Spurs, okay. Home Bournemouth's pretty good. At Villa's okay. It's like it's such a mixed bag, especially with Dyche at the wheel. It's like, which of those games is he gonna just not attack ever? I'm not sure. And then Fulham, all of them are good, and he could just be amazing. He could have 4 shots a game for the first 4 weeks of the season. Don't know.
Yeah, it's possible. I just don't trust him. Just don't trust him. You don't know. Like you mentioned, right? He was good for 4 or 5 months last year, and should be. No, he shouldn't have been. He was good. He's giving you good value for a 6 million forward.
Yeah,
but it's not like
more
this
what
is.
I mean.
Yeah, I mean, he's not some game breaking pick.
Yeah, he's not Palmer.
Yeah, like to me, his best case scenario is 1 and 2, which would be amazing.
Incredible.
And DCL has done that already.
Yes.
And so and he gets the free goals. So
yeah, the pens are just ridiculous.
Yeah, not buying this player all year, and looking at the run, and yes, if you look at the first 3, you give it to Fulham. If you look at the first 10, you give it to Everton clearly. And I think DCL is someone that if you're going to structure your team to have a cheap forward, as long as he doesn't get hurt, which is always a fucking huge toss up.
Yeah.
He's going to just fall into points. They don't have anyone else. Like if he's playing and fit, all they're going to do is
makes DCL a better pick.
Yeah,
because Beto has just gone on to be very bad. Yeah. I mean, he's just
he's just lit money on fire on that one, and it's just all they're going to do is set pieces. He's great. send crosses. Dwight McNeil's magical left-wanded foot.
It's Lindstrom, Decore, whatever.
He'll head some in. He'll miss some. He'll whatever. So I still just feel like DCL's a fucking great
I think that's
pick.
fair. Yeah. Totally.
Do you have him in? Have you been putting him in at all or no?
No, because I've also been really happy with like an expensive front three.
Okay, gotcha.
So far, just
what are you on? Kai, Watkins, Isak?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly what I have dialed in right now. I mean, there's every chance in the world I drop, probably Kai to a 6-0, spread the money, whatever, but I haven't yet.
Okay, gotcha.
Then there's just a bunch of fucking guys. I mean, I think.
Can we talk about the Wood is in? I don't.
How many
what
teams
is going on? Too many. A lot of teams.
Wood is going on.
Let's just say a lot of teams. What is happening? I don't think he's even remotely close to being a pick. What am I not seeing? Like, what's going on with him?
I mean, he's pure. If you just sort by goals last season, he's in your team. If that's like the extent of your research, he's in your team. He was amazing last year. I don't really know how or why, but he was actually amazing last year. Had one of the best years of his career, even though he's old and slow and stuff. Taiwo's obviously better. And he's just much, much better. And the team is much, much better when Taiwo plays. Taiwo also can't stay fit for like 4 games in a row.
Doesn't usually play.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess that's the logic, but I don't know. For me, that's obviously not a pick. Like, you don't even know if he's going to start the first 2 games of the season.
It's crazy. But he's just like getting older and worse, and he obviously had some.
He had a renaissance here. Yeah,
he had a few good games, and he was fit and healthy for the first time in a while. Towards the end of the year, when everyone else was maybe flagging a little bit, like it's just what is the world where Chris Wood in the year 2024 AD God's AD 2024? How is he good? Like how
I think they're just looking at
he can't be.
Home Bournemouth, at Southampton, home Wolves, and thinking that's a good fixture, and not remembering that that's none of those are good fixtures for an old slow striker playing for Nuno.
Not on pens.
If you want to tell me that those are good show fixtures, I'm like, I get it. Like Bournemouth's going to have all the ball in attack. Wolves are going to have all the ball in attack. Cho, Alonga, they're going to counter, cut in, try and score. Crazy. But like, where does Wood with no pens fit into that? I don't really get it. Yeah,
crazy. So let's go over to Ladro because we thought he was going to be hurt, but now he's
actually back. High percent owned. Like compared to Wood, he's 4 times as high owned basically.
He back.
Jao Pedro.
Lad. What are you?
What's the deal? And Ferg is just still hurt, right? He's played 0 minutes.
Ferg's hurt.
I think Welks played last game and got a pen and took the pen.
Scored a pen.
And did Pedro just not play that game? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It was a Sarmiento, Welks, Matoma lineup.
Yeah, Minta played, but...
Well, Minta is undroppable, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I get it. He's great, and pens are great, and he wins pens and takes pens, right?
Yeah, he has done.
Is he nailed?
No.
Well, what are we talking about?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he was nailed under a different manager in a different system, which doesn't mean he's nailed under this manager in a different system. So I don't know. I haven't really played with it that much, to be honest. I mean, like I liked him last year and still didn't start with him. And hasn't started the last like 2 or 3 games for Brighton in preseason. 3. So he has one more opportunity to start with them against Villarreal in their final friendly. And like, maybe on that pod, we're all going to be like, oh my God, Pedro, he played with Matoma on the left and Minta on the right. And, Weaver was getting him the ball over and over again. And fucking Barco's amazing. But until then, I'm just like, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adam Armstrong.
Yeah, he's actually fine. I mean, there's another world where, like, these guys are more. These guys used to be picks more. I just think is really the bottom line. The 5-5 promoted forward, like maybe
we needed them more.
Yeah, we needed them more than we do now, and in that world, he would have been in a lot of teams. And in this world, I'm just like, I just don't need him. Maybe 8th attacker, 3-5-2, 8th attacker. Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great pick. Same with Pedro. Same with, honestly, even the 6 million forwards. I don't think that's too expensive for your 5th attacker. You could have a 3-5-2 where one of the mids is a 5-5. Your 8th attacker is DCL or Muniz or something, and that's good.
Then you're rotating a little bit. Yeah.
But like even still, that's fucking good. I'm fine with that. But like, he's just not going to be. You're not looking at this guy as like a start every week guy. I don't think.
Yeah, I think you could.
Yeah.
Where
are you spending the money? I mean, defense,
Midfield.
Trent Vard.
I mean, maybe you have Palmer and Saka. I mean,
Holland.
Look, you can, if you want a 5-5, you can always find a way to put a 5-5 and get more premium.
You can always spend money in this game.
Yes, you can. And I mean, I think that there are, if you're not so keen on the mid-priced players in general and you want to jam in, high-priced players, Armstrong, DCL, like you're getting, Pens, cheap as fuck. They're not going to score 20 goals, but they're not going to score 4 either. And, somewhat reasonable opening fixtures. You could start there, reassess after 5 or 6 games and say like, okay, now I'm wild carding. I'm going to sort my structure out. I think that's perfectly viable. You can have
short
4-3-3.
term. They have good fixtures. Southampton.
Yeah. I mean, look, you could have a 3-4-3 where you have Mo, Holland, DCL, Armstrong, Saka. You can make that team and you're like, oh yeah, this is fucking sick. I have, 3.
Yeah, the good thing about like if you were, I actually kind of like the idea of going 3-5-2 and like Armstrong, someone like Armstrong's my 8th attacker, because the difference between like the mids that we just talked about for a while and like an Armstrong is like Armstrong's just nailed on pens. Like he's not good and his team's not good, but like he's playing every game. If you're ever getting an auto sub, you're getting a chance of a 10-pointer.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're backup, if your 8th attackers, I don't know, any of the mids we just talked about. Yeah,
Rogers.
Like he could just play 11 minutes that week, and you're just like, wow, cool.
Wow, that was unfortunate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyone else? Forwards? We're good.
Not really for me.
Okay.
A lot of backups, a lot of useless guys.
Yeah, there are.
There's a lot of guys where it's like, we'll see what Fullkrug comes in, but like maybe they sell Dom and like Unal is 5-5 and like that's a pick. But like right now, I don't think that we need to talk about any of these guys.
Okay. All right.
Holy shit, dude. What a fucking pod. And we only got one new sign up. Slap. Like what's going on?
Dude, we are who we are. No one cares. No one cares about
Robert
us.
Pugsley. Good in there, baby. Slap your ass.
Thanks, Robbie. Love you,
Thanks,
Rob.
Robbie. That's it, dude. Big one. Big one.
All right, so next week we got just questions and fuckfest pod.
Yeah, I'm pushing all questions that we haven't answered yet to like last pod, and then I'll pare them down from there.
So you're doing firesides this week. Monday, normal. My life for everybody, not behind the paywall.
Yep. You're talking about next Monday and next Thursday, or Wednesday. I guess we don't know yet.
Friday game on.
Yeah, or if you can't, Friday, Thursday.
We'll stream. Stream. All right. Oh my god.
No one's listening anymore anyway. Any last words for the one person still listening?
If anyone's going to Club Med Extapa next week, hit me up. I'll be there.
Check us out at FMLFPL.com, follow us on Twitter, FMLFPL Sports Page.com/FMLFPL. Subscribe, rate,